So I'm Rick,
I'm Melissa.
and we're figuring this out.
Yes, we are.
Right, so it is like 7 o'clock at night, a little later than that, I guess. Finally got all the wood for the floor. Had to do some errands, had to go help out a buddy of mine and go visit somebody else I haven't seen for almost a month and a half, 2 months. Good neighbor, good friend, good people. So my son and I were back here tonight. We got the floor all prepped, everything is taken off, everything is good to go. We did all the nails, cleaned, vacuumed, all this other stuff. First two pieces are in, they're not screwed or sealed or anything like that. So we're gonna get the camera up, I'm gonna put you on time-lapse mode and enjoy. You see us putting down here is 3/4 inch dry guard subflooring. I probably could have gone away with 1/2 inch plywood because the subfloor is also 3/4 of an inch. So that's given us 1.5 inches of wood on top of the floor joist. We used tar paper underneath as the vapor barrier. That's what's throughout the rest of the house as I tore up the other flooring. I kept the seam right down the middle of the kitchen because it was going to be underneath the island and I didn't want to worry about people walking on the seam all that much just because the floor, it's not 100%. So this went down pretty easy, especially with the help of my son. And even over there by the pipes that are coming out of the floor, that was pretty simple. The hardest part actually was around the front door, and you'll see that here coming up in just a little bit. So probably the hardest part about getting the flooring down in the kitchen was right around the door. And the wall wasn't straight, and then trying to get it in there so that it wasn't binding was a little bit of a pain because it would have been easy to cut the gap wide, but I really wanted it tight underneath that door because I had to figure out how the transition was going to work with the flooring that we were getting ready to put down. It all ended up working in the end, and you'll see that here coming up in just a little bit. Holy crap. All right, so it's after 10 o'clock at night. Just finishing for tonight. We're not done. So I don't have a whole lot left. I've got a couple pieces right here. There is a piece of plywood underneath there that the gas was on. I'm gonna redo that tomorrow. I'm just gonna make everything the same all the way across. That's all I have left. That's it. So floor is freaking sweet. Obviously we alternated seams. I was going to be right through here, so not a big deal. Floor is way sturdier than it was, which is cool. Yeah, it looks good. I'm getting there. Yep. I'm going to do the electrical tomorrow after I finish up the floor. That way the floor is done. Yeah, I'm going to start throwing in some cabinets tomorrow. Absolutely nothing easy about rehabbing this house. It's fun, learning a lot. There's some places where I could do better, but nobody's perfect. But you know, this house is going to be in way better shape than it was when I got it, and it certainly is going to have updated wiring everywhere, updated plumbing, better pressure. So this way, when you flush the toilet or turn on another sink, you don't lose pressure somewhere else. On-demand hot water. It's got HVAC system now. We're gonna update a kitchen, gas versus electric. So yeah, been doing quite a bit. Today was a busy day. Did take a little bit of time. Yeah. So tomorrow, I'm gonna finish this up. Got a lot done. Didn't have the camcorder going just because we got a little busy. It was getting late, and I just had to barrel through all this. So let me show you what we did. A little crazy. I had to take out all the freaking sheetrock here, and the reason being is I had it down. If you remember, I had the strip cut. I had the strip cut across here. I had to get this box in down here for the stove. And by the time I cut everything out, and I'm just going to piece this, and I'm trying to get the wires run, and I'm going to probably put some bracing back here for the lower cabinets and put some bracing up here for the upper cabinets. The distance between here and there is over 4 feet, and I don't want to waste the sheetrock, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to pull this section out and just be done with it. I'm going to pull this section out and be done with it, and probably all of that right there. So all of this is going to need a whole lot of work anyway. I got to do some scraping, got to do some hole filling, and then I would have to put some kills over it to get rid of the old smell and the stains and all that, and I'm going to have to do it on the ceiling anyway. But a lot of patchwork, and I think at this point, really and truly, I'm just trying to get through and get done with this, but not destroy all not the heritage, but all the old work that we have here, because it's really awesome. There's not a stitch of insulation in these outside walls. This is it. This is what it was. It was back in the day. I mean, type 2 foil layers. That's what it was. That is your insulation. Now they do have what looks to be a foam board here. I'm not sure. That's a little bit of an insulation, but the only thing on the other side of that's the brick on the outside. So hey, you know what? It's been great for a lot of years. So yeah, we'll see. So the other thing that I found, so this is 1.5 inch steel. This comes down. This is your the vent pipe. This here comes down and actually runs into the P-trap, or not the P, there's another P-trap right about here for the washing machine, right here. And then, so these two merge right about here, down below. And here's the drain, and this actually slopes down, which would explain why this thing was clogged when I got into the house. I actually had to snake this and get it open so it drained, and it drains a whole lot better than it did. It's not perfect, obviously, but and I think it's because of this really short 90, and not just that, but it slopes down. And then, you know, obviously this slopes down this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take all of this out. I got the connection. I'm going to keep this pipe. I don't want to get rid of it. I think it's in great shape. So I'm just going to take this little section off, and I'll put the PVC pipe in there, and I'll make sure that it slants up just a little bit, and I'm going to put a long sweep 90 right here to bring it out in. That'll give it a little bit more flow rate, I think, or better flow rate in my opinion. Is that true or not? I got no idea, but that's what it's in my head. It makes sense to me, so that's what I'm going to do. But with the new codes, I mean, they talk about dedicated circuits, how many dedicated circuits I need here in the kitchen, which is why I have not finished running wires. I started to run the wires, and I was like, you know what, let me go back and double check the code, which I did. So I actually have to add 2 additional circuits here in the kitchen. And what's going to make that difficult is, so the panel is super packed, and what I'm trying to do is they got a lot of junction boxes that they have up in the attic. So when they rewired this, they took the panel from inside and they moved it outside. That's what it looks like, because it's got an old school panel. I'll show you. So this is the original panel to the house. A little crazy, but that's what I have in there. These are hot. These are live right here, and I believe these right here, these actually right here go to the dryer, which is right behind me. So this line here runs out to the panel. It's a bit crazy because I don't believe that that is a big enough wire to handle the dryer legally, but I'm not gonna touch it. I don't want to touch it right now. I had enough trouble trying to find these wires here. They go up in the attic. They're not even attached to anything. They were attached here. The only reason I still have them in the box is because the grommet is actually on the other side of the box, so I can't pull it through and I can't pull it up. What a nightmare. So it's been a little bit of a nightmare with the wiring, and I can't rewire this whole house at the same time. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go room by room. All right, enough gabbing, enough talking. I'm gonna get changed. I'm gonna get back here and I'm gonna get this stuff pulled down. And we're gonna... I'm not gonna bore you with the rest of me taking this drywall off. So as you can see, we got all this done. I mean, it really doesn't take that long. It takes a little bit longer just because this mesh right there, that's steel mesh, that will bite you. So you just gotta be careful. Take your time. You saw that I'm using the saw. It's got a little all metal blade on there. Just cut it along the ceiling. It is what it is. I mean, so I'm not going to bore you taking the rest of the stuff off. We'll come back after that. I'm going to just, yeah, get the rest of this thing off and see what we got going on from there. Here's the kitchen. I decided to tear all the walls off. I mean, just all the way up until that wall. I am going to tear this out a little bit, just to open that door up and center it a little bit. So we did find the vent stack. That's in pretty decent shape. You can see we had to cut the ceiling because it was just a lot of water damage up there. So I scabbed in right here up until here. So it looks pretty good. I got to do some mud and it's going to turn out really nice. Windows are in so-so shape. And like I said, I'm going to cut this back. It's going to come to just about here. And you can see it was broken, and this is how it was when I bought the place. So I wasn't sure what happened, and when I took the door jamb off, this is what they did. All they did is they cut the studs. You can see it's almost like it's prepped for a header. The main stud's back there. So they didn't put a header in here, and this is a support wall. This goes all the way down the center of the house. A little bit crazy, but it is what it is. This one is not, it just goes in just right above here. It doesn't go up very far. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this out. I'm gonna move this back to the next joist, or the next stud that we have, which is right about here. So this is gonna make this a little bit bigger of a door. So we found in here, this is the sink drain, and this thing was clogged. It was plugged hard when we first got here to the house, and it's plugged right here. And the drain, actually, I don't know if you can see it, but it actually slopes down. It slopes the wrong way. So I got some PVC fittings and all that stuff, so we're gonna change this out. I'm gonna leave the stack the way it is. There was a lot of water damage up here. That's why we pulled the ceiling down. So I have a new collar for that. So at some point I'm gonna have to go up on the roof, put a new collar on there just to make sure that it is nice and tight and sealed. So yeah, today what I got going on is I'm trying to get the sheetrock done. I'm gonna try to get this corner and over here sheetrocked if I can. Alright, so like every other project I do here, let me show you something. This is, I don't even know how this thing drains. I mean, I cleaned that out, but that's what you get. Turn you up a little bit, but you can see she's plugged. How anything goes down is beyond me. So I gotta get that cleaned out before I go any farther. I hope it's just plugged right there, because if it's plugged down any farther than that, then I'm gonna be pulling the vent pipe apparently. Ugh. Oh, okay, so the vent pipe is plugged. I don't even know. I don't even know what to tell you. So, what I was hoping didn't come true. So I got no choice. I'm just gonna have to replace the freaking vent pipe, which means I got to go down to the crawl space, which means part of this is gonna have to wait until my son gets home. I don't know. I'm gonna work on it until then, but so. Yeah, this whole thing right there is plugged. How any water has ever drained through there is beyond me. But yeah, it's plugged. Can't tell you about that. So I'm gonna pull this thing down since I haven't put any mud on there. I'm just gonna replace it. I mean, at this point, I'm tired of fighting it, and it's just gonna be quicker for me to pull it out and replace it than it is to try to unclog it and then try to find out just how far the clog goes. It sucks. Okay, let me get on it. So I need to crawl underneath the house. I need to make sure I got everything that I need before I start cutting things and before I start letting sewer gases out all over the place. I did get a plug for 1.5 inches, so hopefully there's a line down there that I can cut. I don't remember. I've looked at it once or twice, but yeah, it is what it is. So my plan for today has been shot. Just seems to be a part of the course when working on this house lately. So I'm super tired of going underneath the house. Shouldn't be too awfully bad. I've got 1.5 inches that comes in right there. You should be able to see it. So it broke free there. I don't want to be oh wow. How bad is it? Yuck. Anybody else scared? So now what do? Try to get one project done, and it just turns into like 3 or 4 other projects. So let me show you what I've done so far. It's been a little crazy. So if you remember, I was going to cut this off and just put a PVC connection here. It was super clogged, and it was the whole way down. So I actually followed this all the way down into the crawl space, and it didn't really clear up until it got to the Y, where the dishwasher comes in and it turns into a 2-inch pipe. So what I decided to do was just to get rid of all of it. So this turned into an all-day project, and we came all the way up. You can see the stack comes up, and I had to put a new flange on the roof, and yeah, it was a little bit of a nightmare. Living room over there, right in here, where the sink and the microwave are at. This is about the area where the island's going to be, and I already have the wire run designated for the microwave. It's underneath the floor. I left myself plenty of room just because I'm not exactly sure where the island's going to be. You can see where the kitchen counters are right here. This is the outline of it comes around, it comes up. I have just a little bit of I got a 15-inch counter here, and then the 30-inch stove, and it almost goes almost to the end. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. I'm actually going to move these lines inside the wall, and there's still quite a bit of room on the other side, because you got to remember I got brick on the other side. So, and there was zero insulation in here, so I'm going to put these in here. I'll insulate around them, and I'm also going to have rock wool, which is what I've done here on the wall. I've had to do a lot of piecing in because, as you can imagine, these things are not on 16-inch centers. You know, this was like 18 inches, this was 14 inches, that's 15 and a half inches. It's just nuts. That I think is 19 inches. That is 15 inches. That's 15 and a half. I don't even know what that is yet. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a challenge, but with a rock. So I'm not entirely sure what happened to the video. Not a big deal. These cabinets, I picked them up from the big box store. They fit my budget. They look good. They fit the style of the house. That stove right there, that's going to cause me a lot of problems later. And I went with butcher block countertops. The style works. It fits the house. This is me making sure it was long enough before I make that big cut right there, because you only got one chance to cut it, and these things are expensive. That's about where the island ended up being, and I used a polyurethane finish. You can use it, you just got to let it cure really well. And I think I let it cure for like 4 days before I touched it. This is your standard base cabinet. I had to modify it to get the microwave in, and I moved the drawer right to the bottom and then left an open shelf right above that drawer, and you'll see that right here. So it's big enough for a pan. It works, and this is what the microwave looks like in the island. I like it. It worked out really well. So we went with a laminate flooring. It's the only thing that I could use that would kind of line up with the original flooring in the rest of the house, height-wise, so there wasn't a big transition. And luckily we were able to get it down within about a day, and we got in there, and I was able to use the kitchen for the holidays, which is what my goal was. So I appreciate you coming along on this journey, and look forward to getting the next one out a little bit sooner. Bye.